Hey guys, it's Paul, combat veteran, MMA fighter, YouTuber, and we are checking out one of the most controversial videos that I've seen in the past month or so, and it is comparing military recruitment ads for China, Russia, and the United States. So I'm going to be taking a look at them, but really I am going to be breaking down what each country wants in their recruits, not based on the ads necessarily, but based on the geopolitical situation that they and their militaries are trying to address. Let's get into it.
赵亮，
到！白头到！
我们已经习惯达到。
王军到！专利动员大会现在开始。
一声到，是一句承诺。
军长同志，一方前准备完毕，请指示。什么？战！
一声到，是一种割舍。一声到，是一次重塑。
海上、空中、陆上各作战军群已修订完善作战计划。
一声到，是一场冲锋。我们用生命扛起使命，我们用忠诚筑起长城。改革强军，征途如虹。
历史告诉我们，改革创新与时俱进是人民军队不断发展的康庄大道。人民军队的力量来自改革创新，人民军队的胜利来自改革创新。
祖国召唤，我必到。
若有战，将必回。
一声到，一声到。
Okay, so that was the People's Liberation of Army of China's ad, and what we saw there, right, was a lot. It was actually a joint PLA ad. Now, the People's Liberation Army, as you guys probably know, is not the army like we know, the ground force. It's actually, the term army encompasses all military branches. Their Navy, their Air Force, they have a specific branch called the Rocket Force. And so that was sort of an ad for everything. And so China has actually one of the largest by manpower armies in the world. However, they rely primarily on a conscript system. That is, they have compulsory selective service. And this is fine for certain roles, but China's global ambitions are to be a world power military. And we see this in the fact that they are constructing aircraft carriers. They have one operational carrier now, and they are working on building their first from the ground up scratch carrier. Bear in mind, the United States has 12, so China is a little far behind. But again, China wants a military that can, what we call power projection, and that's the ability to provide, I'm going to say, prestige military, activities all over the world, right? The United States military, we have our carrier battle groups go all over the world to ensure freedom of navigation, ensure freedom of the seas, engage in anti-piracy missions. And in addition, our special operations and conventional forces will conduct joint training missions with every other military all over the world. And frankly, those militaries are incredibly enthusiastic about the chance to train with and learn from U.S. soldiers, right? U.S. soldiers or U.S. military members are among the most high-tech, highly trained, and best funded in the world. And that's the kind of soft power diplomacy that the U.S. is able to use its large military to do. It also, we support our allies, the example being like the French in Mali. Their operations were very much supported by U.S. aircraft and other U.S. capabilities. These are all ambitions that China has. The problem that you run into, as you've seen there, is that conscripts that serve a period of, let's say, 2 years, they will be able to learn a certain set of skills, but the more complicated military skills, the ones that really make a military at its most effective, are actually pretty hard to cultivate in conscripts, right? Operating, let's say, a fighter pilot is a perfect example. You could maybe train a fighter pilot in 2 years, but they would barely be finished their training before they would have to leave their period of mandatory service. And of course, I imagine they're officers, and officers probably have a longer commitment. But, what about a flight deck crew chief? Again, in 2 years, you could learn the basics of the job, but you need another decade before you can become proficient enough to, say, run a carrier's flight deck. And so what China is relying on here is an appeal to patriotism. They want their already patriotic people who are already going to perform some level of military service. They want them to stay longer. They want them to view the military as prestigious. They want to associate those soldiers with China's rising military power and might. But ultimately, what they really need is just people to stay in their military or sign up for jobs that are more technical and more challenging than regular conscript period of service that most of them do. And it's especially hard when you have a very competitive global economy, right? There may also be a secondary audience, and that is the general public, the general Chinese public, right? Because they're also going to see these ads, the individuals who are too old, who've completed their military service, who have families and can't abruptly change careers. They also are going to watch this ad, and what they are seeing is the messaging that the Chinese military is prestigious, they are capable, they have a wide variety of high-tech military forces. So I think that's what that commercial is for. It's to get people to stay longer, to view the military as a prestigious career, and to communicate to the general public that the Chinese military is powerful and prestigious and effective. And you noticed Xi Jinping was displayed very prominently. They want to know that it is also well led. Okay, let's take a look at Russia.